So here we are. You got the dreaded phone call, or even worse, you might have got the dreaded text message. Usually when these things come in, it's always at the worst time. It's always when you're short-staffed. It's always the day of, okay? And it's when you are informed that one of your key people, maybe your number one person, has decided they're moving on, they're leaving. They're not interested in working here anymore. And what a gut punch that can be. But there's 4 big things I really want you to think about when someone decides to tell you they're moving on. My name is Kevin Johnson. I'm the CEO of Leverage Consulting, as well as the creator of Leverage You, an online university. So when that dreaded gut punch comes and one of your people tells you, I'm moving on, I'm leaving, I don't want to work here anymore, and I'm sure you're coming up with all kinds of other things. I know it's like a knife to the heart for some of you. I know it's the kind of thing when I talk to clients, sometimes I'll get a random phone call and someone is they're just not happy. They think some really bad things sometimes. And it's because they feel bad, like this is personal for them. And that's the one thing, that's the first thing I want you to start thinking about, and this is the first thing on my list. And this question might seem really weird, might seem kind of odd, but if you can answer this question and think about it logically, I think you'll start to realize that oftentimes we have a very emotional response when people decide to move on. And you have to look at it purely as a manager or business owner, a leader within your team and your company. And the first question I have is this really an opportunity? And for some of you, you might need to ask the question, is this really a gift? Okay? And here's the reason why. And this is I know this question is going to seem really odd, and it's going to seem like, how can someone quitting be a gift? How can it be an opportunity? Well, there are times in the dynamic and the structure of certain teams that things are the way they are because certain people are on your team. Or trying to implement or institute change with that person there might be really, really difficult. But when you welcome in a brand new person, they might be very welcoming, open to new ideas, because guess what? They're new. They don't know any better. And I don't want to see you lose people. Let's lead with that. If it sounds like you should be very welcoming of losing people, no, that's not the case. But you do need to be very logical and strategic when people do leave. So you have to look at it as is this an opportunity? Is this an opportunity for me to restructure my team? Is this an opportunity for me to hire someone else who has a different skill set? Is this an opportunity for me to hire someone who has the same skill set, but they have a different personality, a different attitude towards life? They're just different. So you may, again, even that same person, they may have been in a position, but maybe that position wasn't for them. Maybe you have someone else on your team that is perfect for that position, and because of team dynamics and other things, you didn't really want to make that move and shake the apple cart. So now with this person leaving, you can take someone from over here, move them in this seat, and hire the perfect person for that job. So that's what I'm talking about with opportunity. So as soon as someone says, I'm out of here, you need to start thinking, is this an opportunity or a gift for me to make some changes? So the second question you really need to ask, because again, oftentimes we have that initial emotional reaction that someone doesn't love me anymore. And now you have to ask yourself, again, thinking logically, how am I really handicapped? Because most times when I've seen clients get upset about the fact that somebody's quitting, is they think about today, they think about this week, they think about next week. They're not thinking about 6 months from now, they're not thinking about 12 months from now. They're just thinking about the very, very immediate future. My day is going to be terrible now. So you need to really think about how you're really handicapped. And this is one of those things, I learn things from clients all the time. That's the beauty of what I do for a living, is I get to learn from other people too, because there are certain thoughts or ways in which people will do things, and okay, that works, that's a good idea. One of my clients that I've worked with for a very, very long time has a very interesting way of gauging the value of a team member on his team. And it's just this. when that person goes away on vacation, does the office run better and more smoothly when they're there versus when they're not there? Interesting way of looking at things. There are some people that create discord and stress, and it's just how they react to things, versus some people who are harmonious, they're very team oriented, and they're all about outcome. They're not about focusing on problems, they want to focus on outcomes. When you get that dreaded message that someone's leaving you, how are you really handicapped? Are you handicapped just today, this week, next week type thing? And also, how are you handicapped in terms of what that person did for your team? Are you really handicapped? Because you may have other people that can cover that position. That you may have certain people that can step into that position, whether be it short-term or long-term. And if you're really handicapped, this is going to get to question number 4, which I'll talk about in a minute. But if you're really handicapped, will lead to question number 4. So question number 3 is, when someone leaves, you also need to ask, what will I learn from this? And you will learn a lot if you choose to. You'll learn a lot every time. And you'll learn there are reasons why this person left. And hopefully this is not a number 1 right-hand kind of employee who's leaving because of someone else. That's literally the word. Now, if this is happening, you should feel bad, because this is literally one of the worst things that can happen to you, is to have the really, really good players leave because they can't stand working with other players on your team who might be underperformers. That is a very bad thing. So again, we can learn from that. What should I do differently? Do I need to maybe remove or eject or do something else with an underperformer so my top performers always want to stay? And if you don't know the answers to some of these questions, maybe you need to be doing exit interviews. You need to talk to these individuals and ask them, because you need to know, are these things preventable? Are these things I could have done something about? Are these things that I should have just head off? Should I have been confrontational and dealt with it a long time ago? Because even though you may or may not be able to salvage this situation, you need to salvage your future. You need to figure out a way that this does not happen again. So you will always learn something from a situation, even if it's a bad situation. You will figure out, how do I prevent this from happening in the future? And that really is question number 4. How do I make sure this never happens again? And there's no things in life are guaranteed. We know there's 2 things in life that are guaranteed, but in reality, there's nothing in life that's guaranteed. But you have to have the mindset and the attitude that this will never happen again. And you have to do everything in your power to ensure that this kind of thing, I do not want a number 1, a right-hand key employee to tell me, I don't want to work here anymore. Now, mind you, if their spouse is being transferred somewhere else in the country, if there's something else going on with their family that's just, we can't do anything about that. I get it, okay? I'm talking about things that are preventable, things that we can influence. So question number 4, what can we do to ensure this never happens again? And you have to have the facts. You can't use emotions. And I'm not talking about just you, I'm talking about them and the rest of your team as well. You need to make sure that we're doing things to ensure that our team members feel valued, they feel like we have transparency, they feel like they're compensated fairly, they feel like they're making a difference, they have challenges in their job. I will tell you, with everything that I'm listing out, too many people think the bottom line is all about the money, and it's not. You can pay someone exorbitant amounts of money and they'll still be unhappy. I know there was a new client that I started working with a couple of years ago, and he was fresh. He bought a practice from a retiring doctor, and all of the employees in that practice were making the same amount of money. All the employees were probably making, I'll say, somewhere between 25 and 50% more than a lot of the competitors were paying their team members in the area. Yeah. And as crazy as that sounds, okay, you would think if they're being paid that much, if they're being paid 25 to 50% more than what the competitors in town are paying, the team must be thrilled to death. They must be happy. They must be just running in the practice every day, singing and just smiling and just thrilled to death. No. quite the opposite. They weren't happy. They did not have the best of teamwork. So you have to remember that it's not just about compensation, it's about other things that you have control over. And it's just the list that I just gave you a minute ago of things like transparency, things like the challenges they have at work, like good challenges, not bad ones, but good challenges, meaning you're challenging them to grow within their position. And it also is your leadership and your management that will keep people around. So again, the 4 questions being, is this really an opportunity or a gift for me? Should I be doing something with this and be happy with the fact that they've left? Are you really handicapped? Are you really handicapped with this? Is it more than just today? And is it, how are you actually handicapped? Because again, it leads to my question number 4. But question number 3 is, what are we going to learn from this? What can we learn from this whole situation to make sure, leading to number 4, what are we going to do that we make sure this never happens again? What are we putting in place to make sure this never happens again? And this gets to 3 things. If you really think about the big picture in what you do, how you run your practice, how you run your business and your team: leadership, systems, and profitability. And it may sound like those 3 words are only for the owner doctor, they're only for a manager. No, it's not, because a team should be interested in leadership, systems, and profitability too. Every one of those things will get us to less stress, better days, more productive days, and guess what? When the practice does better, the team will do better, not just in compensation, but their stress levels, their appreciation of the practice, and so on. So when you get that gut punch, when you have someone who sends you the dreaded text, or maybe they step up and make that phone call and let you know they're leaving, you have to ask yourself those 4 questions, because I can guarantee you, if you take those 4 questions seriously, you will change the face of your practice, you will change your team, you will change your outcomes. Again, my name is Kevin Johnson. I'm the CEO of Leverage Consulting, as well as the creator of Leverage You, the online university. If you like content like this, hit like, hit subscribe. I've got videos like this that I'm putting out literally every week right now. And if you have ideas, if you have feedback, if you have any feedback on this video in particular, I'd love to see you drop a comment below and let me know what your thoughts are.